So am I audible now? I'm joining through the mobile.
Hello everyone.
So,
Yes, please. Okay, you were saying something.
Yeah, I'm joining through the audio. So okay, Aparna, can I share my screen now? Okay.
Yes, noted.
Uh-huh. So screen is also visible, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay. So this is our objective for today. We'll be learning about commenting code in Python. Then I'll be taking you with how to declare a variable and what is a variable and some few important rules about naming your variables according to the convention which is used in Python language. And subsequently, we'll also learn about data types today. And then we will use a type function in Python to find the data type of a particular variable. So this is what I plan to take you through today. Okay. Any programming language when we learn, the first thing any programmer will learn to do is how to comment the code. Okay. So the commenting of the code is very important because, whenever we are writing any code or whatever the logic we are writing, we generally put it in the comments so that whoever is reading that code will be able to understand what that particular piece of code is doing. Also, sometimes programmers, what they do is they write the name of the author on the top of the code, just so to know others to know that who has written that code. And sometimes they even put the date on which that particular piece of code has been last revised, or if there have been any changes in that, that also they record with the help of the comment. Okay, so in Python, the way to add a comment is to use this hashtag symbol. Okay, so when whatever we put after the hashtag symbol in a single line, that will be commented. So you can all open your Jupyter notebooks and work along with me. So I want this to be an interactive session. Whatever I'm doing now in my Jupyter notebook, I want you guys to open it and do it on your system. Okay, that way we will be learning much faster. So I'll give you some time. Though if you have not yet opened Jupyter notebook, please do it now. Hello, I hope
Yes,
you're able
ma'am.
to launch it. Yeah, I hope you are able to launch Jupyter notebook, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I would again advise you to do is just like how I named my notebook today, according to today's date, you also do the same thing. Every day, name the Jupyter notebook of a particular session according to the date on which you are learning it. So today's session, just record it as 19th February. I hope you remember yesterday. What did we do? Whenever we wanted to start with a new Jupyter notebook, we go to our new, and in new you look for Python 3 and click on that. It will open a new notebook session. Were you guys able to open it?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Now to rename it, you can go to the top, okay, where you can see the name of that notebook, and just click on that. When you click, when you start a notebook, by default it will give an untitled name to that. So just go there and then give today's date and then say rename.
Yeah, done, ma'am.
So now, by default, when this notebook has opened, you can see one cell has been opened, right? This is where we will be typing our code in this particular cell. So today since we are learning comments, just type hashtag. This is a comment. And in the next line, you all write print hello world. And how do you execute that particular line of code? You click on run, or you say shift enter, and the code will be executed. Shift enter to execute the code, or from the top you can also use the run. So the piece of code in that particular cell will be immediately executed. And here I've written a print statement, and before that there is a hashtag, and I've written this is a comment. So this comment is actually ignored by your Python interpreter. It doesn't bother about it because it knows that it is a comment and it doesn't have to do anything with it. So this kind of a comment is called as a single line comment. You can also write multiple lines of comment like this. Supposing I take this line now, here what I've done is, after hello world, I've written hashtag. This is a comment going into the next line. Now, whatever you write to the right of that hashtag, that is again ignored by the Python, because Python is looking at this line as a comment line, and it is not going to do anything with it. So again, you can write this and just check it out. Press shift enter. Okay, so this is a multiple line comment. So if you want to take a comment into the next line, it gave me an error because whatever I've written here, this is a comment going into the next line. It has spilled over to the next line, and there's nothing like going into the next. There's no command like that in Python. So Python immediately threw an error message for me. So in order to get out of that error, what I've done is I've put a hashtag here. So now this will become a multi-line comment. So this is one comment line. This is another comment line. So this is how, if you want to write comments in several lines, for every line you have to put one hashtag. Is that clear, everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Now, another way of doing this is you can also put string literals like this. So here you see there are 3 inverted commas. So what is Python doing now? Anything between after this first inverted comma and this last inverted comma, it is now going to see it as a comment only, and it is not going to do anything. So it is nothing will happen now if I write like this. Okay. So this is just a comment, and Python is just going to ignore it. I hope this is also understood. So I'm just telling you what are the different ways of writing a comment. One is to write a single line comment. Another one is to write a comment in multiple lines. So for every line of comment you are writing, you have to use the hashtag comment. Okay. Another way is to just put a 3 inverted commas, write your lines of code, and then end it with another pair of, inverted commas like this. Okay. Okay. So since everybody has already written this single line comment, and I hope you have written comments and you have seen the output, all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. Now we'll come to the concept of a variable. Okay. I hope this is clear. So I'll just tell you about what a variable is. Now in Python, or for that matter in any programming language, A variable is just a container where we are going to store our data values. Okay. So supposing I just want to add two numbers and get the output. Okay. So 34 plus 56 needs to be added and I want to get the output. So inside the computer, these numbers have to be stored somewhere temporarily. Then only then the computer is able to add both of them and give you the sum of 34 and 56. So the way to do that is to store these values inside variables. So I can take one variable as x and say x is equal to 34, and I can take another variable and say y is equal to 56. So why are we giving names like this? Like I said, these values are being stored somewhere in the computer's address, memory address. And it is not possible for us to remember those addresses. Okay. So instead of that, what we are doing is we give a descriptive name to it so that it becomes easy for us to understand that that there is a some ABCD, there's some XYZ is there, and inside that that particular thing there is a value of 34. So it becomes easy. Now I know that I've created two variables. One is X, another one is Y. They are stored somewhere in the computer memory. I'm not worried about where they are stored in the computer memory. All I know is that inside X, the value is 34 and inside Y, the value is 56. Okay. So that is the reason why we take the, we make a variable and then inside the variable, whatever the data that we want to store, we store it inside the variable. Is that point clear, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Now, in case of Python, doesn't expect that we have to declare a variable by giving some data type to it. Okay. Some of you have done C programming, so you must be aware that in C, what happens is generally, if you are going to use some variables like X and Y in our program, we first have to declare them. Right? You have learned C, I think one of you said there you have learned C programming. So the C is very rigid about it. If you don't declare a variable, immediately it will throw an error. Okay. Whereas in case of Python, that is not the case because with Python, it is very, very simple and not much of a syntax is there. And it is we call that as a loosely typed line. That means depending on the context, it will assume, like supposing here, I'll give you an example. I'm saying x is equal to 45, right? Now, 45 is an integer value. Because I've declared x as 45, now Python has automatically assumed that x is having an integer value. So it is of the data type integer, we call it as. Okay, I hope you understand. Why we need to know the data type is Python has to know what it has to do with the data. Otherwise, if supposing I write something like this, I can say print x plus, let us say, I'm just simply saying 45 plus Python. Okay? No, yeah. Python is actually a string. I cannot add a string to a number, right? That is not possible. So if we don't know what is the data type and we write some statements like this, Python will automatically assume that this 45 is also a string and Python, it will assume Python also to be a string and it will add both of them and give you an output like this. Okay, it will just simply say 45 Python. This confusion came because you have never told Python that this 45 is not a string. We want it to be a number, right? So that is why, first of all, if you want to use any value or a variable, you simply give you make a statement like this. Now Python knows very specifically that 45 is a number and y is a Python, that is a string. So if you try to add both of them, now what will Python do? On its own, it is converting this 45 into a string and it is adding to this Python, which is also a string. Okay, so that is how Python is going to, because this is based on the context where see Python is we have not specified anywhere that x should only be an integer and y should be a string and all that. We have just given some values to them. So based on the values which we have given to them, Python has simply assumed that x is a number and y is a string. What is the meaning of a string? A string is nothing but a sequence of characters. Okay, I think let's just try to understand a little with another example. What we have done here is we are in Python. What we do, we simply declare any variable. Supposing simply I want to let's say print 45 and 55. Okay. So what will Python do now? You don't have to declare any variable. It now knows that both are numbers. So it is automatically going to add both of them and give you a number. Okay. I'll just print it and show it to you here. Right. Now you take print 45 plus 5. Just see what will happen now. Let's see what will happen. Okay. What is it doing now? It is giving you an error. Why is it? Because 45 is a number and Python is a string. Okay. A string is also one data type and it is just a sequence of characters. So you cannot add a number with a string. So Python has immediately given you an error here. And what is it saying? It's saying that unsupported operand type for plus. So you can do only addition of two like operands. That is, I can add 45 with 55. That is, both are numbers. So I can do an addition. Or I can also say like this. I can say Python plus this also can be done by me. Because both are strings now, it will not give me any problem. Okay, so now what is it doing? It is adding both the strings and giving you Python programming as one single string. So is this understood, everybody? If you are doing any operations, you should know what kind of an operations can be performed on which kind of data. If you are taking numeric, you can add both numeric data. It is allowed. You cannot take one number and another string. It is not allowed. It will give you an error. Both are strings, then also no problem because it is going to add both the strings and make it into one single string. Is this concept clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So that is the reason why you have to know what is the type of data you are taking and what operations can be performed on a particular type of data. Okay, next what we'll do is so first concept we've learned is that the variable is created the moment you first assign a value to it. So what did we do here? We have said x is equal to 45. So the minute I say x is equal to 45, you have created one variable inside the memory. The name of that variable is x and the value inside that is 45. That is first concept. Second, we are saying that variables need not be declared with any time and can even change after they are being set. So what is the meaning of this? Initially, I am declaring x is equal to 65 or any other value for that matter. And now I am reassigning the value to x. So supposing now I will say x is equal to okay, and I say print x. So what is the value that is getting printed now? Python, because initial value was 56. After that, we have reassigned a value to that same x variable. Now I've given a value of Python. So when I print it, what will happen? Whatever is the latest value inside that particular variable, that value will be available, and that is why Python is printing, this when I say print X, you get Python here as the output. So this concept is also clear. First thing we have said that the minute you declare a variable, give some value to a variable, the variable is created in the computer's memory. Second point is, it is also possible that once you create a variable, you can reassign some value. So this is also allowed. Okay, 2 points we have learned about the variable. Now, what is the third thing? Third point is, we have something called as a casting here. Okay, now I'll tell you what is meant by casting. Initially, okay, supposing I'm just saying x is equal to 3. Now 3 as such is an integer value. Okay, 3 is an integer value. But then I want that value to be a floating point value. Okay, float means it is a value which can take decimal values. Okay, 3 is an integer, but though it is 3, we want it to be treated as a float by Python. Okay, I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to show here. What
Yes,
is a floating point number? Floating point number means a number which is having a decimal place. Okay, here we have taken 3, but what is the 3 here? 3 is an integer, but then I've explicitly what I've done is I've converted that integer into a float by putting this float here in front of it. Now, if you try to print the data type of this particular variable, I can say print, okay, type and y. This type function will tell me what kind of a value is being stored inside that particular variable. Okay, so let me check now. It will tell you that though this number is an integer number, because we have written float here, the data type of y is what now? Float. Okay, is this concept clear? You can set the value of a particular variable. Okay, how do you do that? This concept is called as casting. What does casting do? It will allow you to specify the data type of a variable. So with the help of casting, I can convert one data type to another data type. So if I have a number which is integer, I can explicitly convert it into a floating point number by using the keyword float in front of it. Is this clear? Or is there any doubt here? So, clear,
No,
so this is called as casting. Okay, casting means converting the data type of a variable from one data type to another data type. Okay, so you can create a variable, you can reassign a value to a variable, and you can also change the data type of a variable with the help of casting. Okay. Right, now what I want all of you to remember is, remember this type function, because I'm going to give you 3-4 exercises. So you will have to note down somewhere how to write the type function. If I want to know the data type of a particular variable, what is the function I'm using here? Type. Okay. Remember this. Yeah. I'll ask you, so I'll give you some exercises to do, so that time you'll have to use it. Okay. Yeah. One more very important thing is your variable names are case sensitive. Okay. What is the meaning of case sensitive? Capital A is different from small a. Okay. So if I say, supposing I'm saying A is equal to 44, and I'm taking one more capital A here. Okay. And in capital A, I'm putting 56. Now, if I say print A, capital A, and print small a. Both will be treated as different variables by Python. The reason is it is case sensitive. So capital A is different from small a. Okay, this you have to remember. Okay. Now there are some more rules for giving a name to a variable. Okay. Now why are these rules important? And generally when we look at our names and all that, generally according to the region and all that, some people write their first name in the beginning and last name at the end, right? In some states, they do the reverse. They write the last name first and then write the first name next. So there are different ways of writing one's name, right? In the same way, when we write a name to a variable, it has to follow certain some conventions of that particular or rules of that particular language. Okay, so in Python, there are certain rules for naming the variable. The first rule is a variable can have a short name or you can have a descriptive name also. I can variable names like X and Y, or I can have a variable name like age, car name, total volume, like that. Any descriptive names I can take. And most important is a variable name must start with a letter. Okay, whenever you are starting to give a name to a variable, the name should, beginning of that name should be a letter or the underscore character. Okay, the first letter of the name has to be a letter or an underscore character. These two are, you cannot start it with a number. Then the compiler, your Python interpreter will give you a error message. Okay. Next rule is a variable can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. That means you can use all letters from capital A to capital Z or small a to small z, and then 0 to 9 numbers can be used and an underscore character can be used. But you cannot use percentage symbol, dollar symbol, or @ symbol, or your asterisk symbol. All those symbols are not allowed in a variable name. Okay, and this we have already seen. Variable names need to be case sensitive. Okay, and another important thing is a variable name cannot be any one of the Python keywords. Okay, every language has a set of keywords. Okay, so keyword means that those words are part of the programming language. Okay, they are part of the programming language. So you cannot give a variable name the same name as some keywords. Is that clear? What is the meaning of a keyword? Should I repeat? Keyword means in Python, when we are writing our programs, there are certain words which we use as part of our program. Okay, those are the commands of the program. So those commands cannot be taken as the name of the variable. The compiler will get confused and it starts throwing up the error. Is this clear? Variable name. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
So here what we am doing, I am giving you a set of variable names. Just look at them. These are all valid variable names. The first one I have written myvar is equal to Python. Underscore is allowed. So you can say if there are two words in your variable name, you can separate the words with the help of an underscore. So you can say my underscore var is equal to Python. Also, what did we say? We can start a variable name either with a letter or an underscore symbol. So I can say underscore my underscore var is also valid. Okay.
Yeah,
And
but just a small question. Maybe we can start the variable defining with underscore followed by number, right?
you cannot use a number. You can't
No.
start it with
In
a
front,
number.
of that, if you put underscore, that is also
Yeah.
valid variable, right?
Valid variable. Like here I've taken since I said my underscore my variable is equal to something. So I'll put it in Python.
So I put underscore 1, that is also valid variable, I believe.
Underscore 1, that is, you don't start it with 1. You
Okay.
cannot start it with number, but then after